been a minute since I've recorded, but we have COD Champs coming up next week, guys. So it's only right that I do my pick'ems, show you all my bracket, and just kind of give you my overall thoughts on how I think the event's going to unfold. Before we get into the actual video, I just want to give you guys a quick update on why I haven't uploaded as much. And that's just because I don't have an editor at the moment. And it's just really hard for me to stream and do everything I do on a day-to-day basis, as well as record and edit my videos and then upload them. So that's why I haven't been able to. So if there's anyone out there that supports me that is an editor and you're interested in working together, let me know in the comment section below. It doesn't matter if you have a ton of experience or you're a beginner that's just starting out. Just reach out to me. We'll connect. You can show me your work, yada, yada, yada. But that's enough for the update. Starting out my bracket is going to be the Atlanta FaZe versus the Seattle Surge in the very first round of winners bracket. And look, this is going to be a very tough matchup for the Surge. Atlanta FaZe has yet to place outside the top 3 all year long. And I'll be honest, I don't see that changing anytime soon. Like, Atlanta FaZe's expectations are so high. People don't even think that they're having that good of a season because everyone's expecting them to win damn near every single event. I mean, when you have players like Simp, Abizi, Celium, and Slasher as your 4 players, if you could say Slasher is your worst player on your team, which I'm not saying it, but I'm saying if you could say it, you have a pretty freaking disgusting squad, in my opinion. When you look at Seattle Surge, they have some superstars. Obviously, Pred, one of the best players in the game. They have proven winners in accuracy. They have a good team. Sib's nasty. Max, solid. Max, pretty good. And they could definitely beat Atlanta FaZe. They could definitely beat Atlanta FaZe. So this wouldn't be like an insane upset. But my biggest issue with them is we don't know what Seattle Surge we're going to get. Are we going to get a Seattle Surge that looks great all weekend long and they can potentially actually win the whole damn thing? Or we're going to see a Seattle Surge that just gets bounced? You know, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think anyone out there does. If I was a betting man, I would put all my money on Atlanta FaZe. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I think this series is going to be, honestly, I think it's going to be a 3-0. I honestly think Atlanta FaZe are just going to be too strong. I think they're coming for blood. They all want to get another ring. And I think they're going to use this first round against a Seattle team, which is good, but they know that they're better than, to really jumpstart the rest of this event for them. Then moving on, we have the Toronto Ultra versus the Los Angeles Thieves. Obviously, I'm an LAT stan. Those are my boys. Both of these teams have won a major this year. Both of these teams have looked great. Both of these teams have looked lackluster. Same crew. And right now, I think if you were to look at the statistics, Toronto has had LAT's number. Like, if you look at their series at the majors this year, they've matched up 3 times. LAT is 1-2 overall with a 4-6 map win-loss. The numbers don't lie. Toronto does seem to have the upper hand in this series when you look at the numbers. But when you break it down in each game mode, LAT is 2-2 versus Toronto in the majors, in hardpoint 1-2 in S&D, and 1-2 in control. This is still going to be a very, very close matchup, in my opinion. I think the most important thing that favors LAT, though, is they have the experience. I mean, LAT is the reigning COD champions, and they all have played and had success at the biggest stage, right? Kenny, well, they all won last year, but Kenny also has 2 seconds. Octane has a second. Envoys performed great. And so they know exactly how it feels to play with that much pressure on you. But they've all been there and they know how it feels. On the side of Toronto, though, you have Hixie, who's a rookie. You have Scrap, who's a rookie. Obviously, you have Insight and Kleenex, both great players. But it is a little bit different at Champs than every other event, right? Even though all these players go into every single event, every single major, with the same goal in mind, even at Champs, you just want to win. But things are a little bit different. Stakes are a little bit higher. And I think that favors LAT. And that's why I think LAT is going to come out and they're going to perform. I think it's going to be a very close series. I have 3-2 LAT. And that means that LAT is going to be moving on to winners round 2, where they're going to be going up against FaZe, while Toronto's going to be going down to the losers bracket. Moving on, next we have Optic Texas versus Boston Breach. And look, Optic Texas got the shit beat out of them, okay? They went 5-0 in qualifiers at Major 5, and then they went 3-0, 3-0 out the tournament at the actual major. Now, history normally repeats itself, okay? I saw a stat that I think out of the 10 champs, 7 out of the 10 teams who won the previous event have won champs, okay? I'm also part of one of them that didn't, but that's besides the point. But also, teams that don't really do well the event going into champs, they kind of have poor performances. Now, I don't think that that's going to be the case here. I don't think Optic is going to get bounced in the first round. I think even though that they played as horrible as they did, they're just a better team than Boston Breach. I think Boston has a lot of issues. They have a lot of talent, don't get me wrong, but I just think that they don't really understand how to win as a team. All those players, in my eyes, it's just not clicking for them. Now, I know they have Snoopy. They brought in Snoopy. I don't think that's really going to change much. I think throughout the entire year, they've been kind of making some questionable roster moves, just lateral moves, in my opinion. So I do have Optic regaining. They're going to win this series 3-1, in my opinion. Boston's going to lose the bracket. Optic is moving on to the next round, and they're going to play the New York Subliners because that's the next series, NYSL versus Minnesota. Like I just said, 7 out of the 10 teams that won the event prior to COD Champs have also won COD Champs or been in the finals. Is that what it is? It's one of those. I think it's one COD Champs. But NYSL looked great. They're the only team to win 2 majors this year, the first and the last major. Well, like regular season major. Obviously, Champs is the last major of the year. And while Minnesota have looked better since they have attached, I just think NYSL is going to be too much. I think this is going to be a 3-1 as well, meaning the NYSL versus Optic are going to be facing off in winners round 2. But before we get on to the round 2, we're going to go to losers bracket round 1. And starting it off, it's going to be the Seattle Surge versus Toronto Ultra. This is where it gets interesting because, like I said, what Seattle do we get? Now, Seattle, they have players that have competed. They have the experience at COD Champs. Toronto Ultra, they're lacking that. Now, that's not the end-all, be-all. That's not the only thing that matters, okay, is experience. But it does help. It, without a doubt, helps. And anyone that says it doesn't is lying to your face. And one of these, like, it sucks because one of these teams is they're bounced. Just double first rounded. And I don't know. I'm thinking one or two ways here. Like Toronto Ultra has to be the favorites. But as we've seen in Major 5, right, the teams that didn't qualify for champs, they had less pressure. Okay, all pressure was removed. They were playing loose. They were playing more free. That's because they had nothing to lose. Simple as that. Now, I know that that's not the exact case here, but just follow me real quick. Seattle Surge, there's been a lot of talks throughout the entire year. Fred's leaving, going to Optic. Sib's leaving, maybe going to Optic. You know, that's been word on the street. Now, why I'm saying that is because I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, and I could be completely wrong. But in my opinion, they might have less pressure because there might be, even if it's not talked about, there might be this kind of general understanding of like, look, we're most likely not going to be a team after this event. Like, this is most likely going to be the last time that these 4 players play together. So we have nothing to lose. You know, we go out and win. Well, shit, maybe we will stick we will go into the next COD as a team, as the same 4. But it's like they're not expecting it, you know? They're not expecting to stick together compared to like an Atlanta FaZe or maybe like an LAT, right? I don't know. They might play a little bit more loose, maybe a little bit more unstructured, kind of off the leash. And I think it's going to come down to the superstars. I think if Pred and Sib have a good series, Seattle can actually take this. And I'm going to go ahead. That's going to be my first upset of the event. Unfortunately for Toronto, they had a great year. I know that anyone out there that is a Toronto Ultra fan, you're going to think I'm absolutely faded out of my mind. But I have Toronto going home. Double first rounded. Seattle Surge. Move on to see another day. But yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's champs time, man. It's champs time. Every matchup is going to be tough. It's always going to be competitive when you get to this point of the year. And fortunately for Seattle Surge, I have them moving forward. Then the last elimination round 1 matchup is going to be the Minnesota Rocket versus Boston Breach. Look, like I said, Boston, 0 fundamentals, negative fundamentals. Boys got gunny, though. No brains. And on the side of Minnesota, they're a very fundamentally sound team. You know, I would probably favor, the scale probably tips in favor of Boston Breach, no pun intended, in terms of talent, but it's like minuscule. I don't think it's that different, but Minnesota is definitely just a better overall team. They understand the fundamentals of COD. They have proven winners, okay, on their team. They know what it means. They know what it means to actually find success. I don't think Boston does. So I'm going to have Minnesota winning this. I think it might be close. I think it could be close, but I think eventually Minnesota's going to come out on top. They're going to move to losers round 2. Now, scrolling back up to the top, we have Atlanta FaZe versus LAT in the winners round 2. And if you look at the screen, LAT and Atlanta have faced off 3 times at the majors this year, where LAT is at the disadvantage. They're 1-2 in the series, 5-8 in the map win-loss. Now, the big thing is they do have a positive hardpoint record versus Atlanta FaZe, but it is just 3-2. But they're S&D in control, both 1-3. And that's what worries me, because Atlanta FaZe is a very good S&D team. I mean, they're a very good team in general, and they looked a lot better than LAT did at this last major. They did. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for LAT. And unfortunately for them, I think FaZe is going to come out on top. I have this being a very close series, but FaZe is the real deal. As much as I want LAT to win, I'm trying to get a perfect bracket. And who knows, maybe they'll match up again in the finals. But I have Atlanta FaZe moving on, LAT dropping down to loser bracket. And then we have Optic Texas versus the New York Subliners. And like I said, man, Optic did not look good. I think that they are just the better team than Boston. That's why I had them moving forward. NYSL, though, little bit of a different team than Boston. I don't know if Optic's going to be able to do it. Now, like I said, I don't know what went wrong. Like, their blunder at stage 5 is pretty insane. Like, I don't know if people are gassing it on social media, or they're like, whatever, off weekend. That just doesn't happen. You know, like if they went into the major 3-2 from the qualifiers and then they got 3-0, it's like, well, okay. Or like they made it barely, they were 2-3, but they won the tiebreakers, they made it to winners bracket and went 0-3-0-3 off weekend. They dominated. They've dominated. Now I know they've gone second twice on land. They've dominated, and it just, I don't know. It didn't translate. Now, I saw Ghosty said he was sick, but let's be honest, that isn't what put them in the place that they are. And on top of that, there is honeymoon phases, okay? This is very similar to any professional sport, right? You want to heat up at the right time. It doesn't matter if you were the best team all regular season, if you were hot early on to the mid-season, and then you kind of cooled off, you're going to get beat by another team that made the playoffs, or in this case, champs, that heated up at the right time. You know, like that's just what it comes down to. And right now, NYSL is heating up again. They were hot early, they cooled off, but maybe they're finding their stride. I don't think it was a fluke. They looked great at Major 5, and they have to be the favorites in this series, and I think that they are going to win this series. I'm going to say 3-1 NYSL. That means it's going to be the NYSL versus the Atlanta FaZe in the winners finals. Going down to losers round 2. Optic Texas is going to go up against Seattle Surge. Now, if you were to compare their overall mode win-loss, I mean, Optic Texas just blows Seattle out of the water. 33-12 in hardpoint, 20-14 in SND, and 15-16 in control. This is from stage 3 and on. While as you look at Seattle Surge, 20-17 in hardpoint, 12-15 in SND, 11-11 in control. So this is going to be tough. Optic's got to be the favorites. They looked better than Seattle Surge, and I do think Optic Texas is going to win this series. I think it's going to be close, but I think Seattle's tournament is just going to end a little bit short. It's not going to go as far as that they were hoping for, but I'm not sold. I think Seattle Surge is too hot and cold for me. They're very hit or miss, and you don't want that when it comes to COD Champs. And then the second losers round 2 matchup is going to be LAT versus Minnesota. Look, I got LAT, man. I do. Simple as that. They're just a better team than Minnesota. I think that's going to set up a classic losers round 3. This is going to be, to get into the losers finals, it's going to be Optic versus LAT. But before we get there, the winners final, Atlanta FaZe versus the New York Subliners. And look, we have a repeat of the finals last event. I think Atlanta FaZe is going to get revenge. Okay, I think they're going to win this series. I think the games can be close, but I think Atlanta FaZe is going to have control throughout the entire series. I thought that they had a great chance. I mean, they honestly probably shoulda, coulda, woulda won the last major. NYSL clutched up. Hydra played fucking phenomenal, but I'm favoring Atlanta FaZe here. And then that means that we have Optic Texas versus LAT in the losers finals. And as you guys can see here, this is from all the majors this year. Optic cannot beat LAT on land. They can't. They are 1-4 in series, 7-15 in the map win-loss, and it's just simple. They're getting beat in all their bread and butters by LAT. They're 3-6 in hardpoint versus them, 3-4 in S&D, 1-5 in control. It's weird because kind of how the top 3 teams, well, before this last major, everyone was saying LAT, FaZe, Optic. It was a cycle. Optic can't beat LAT, FaZe can't beat Optic, LAT can't beat FaZe. I think I said that right. And I don't think that that's going to change here. I have LAT coming out on top of this series. I think they're just going to be too strong. I think that they are the better team, and I think they're going to prove it. They're going to head to the losers finals where they're going to go up against the Subliners. And these teams have only played each other once at a major this year. And NYSL has to be the favorites here, as much as it pains me, because I really want LAT to go back-to-back. But like I said, 7 of the 10 previous tournament winners are your COD champs, or they're at least in the finals. I need to fact check myself on that, but I think that that is going to continue to stay the same. I think NYSL are going to win a crazy close series. I'm saying like round 10, map 5, round 11 maybe, map 5. I think NYSL is going to clutch up. They're going to see themselves in the finals. It's going to be a rematch of Major 5, which it normally kind of always ends out this way, just because both of these teams, they're heating up at the right time. Champs is relatively soon after Major 5, so you know there really isn't much time to improve on things. It's just kind of like how you're playing, whatever your performance is right now, that's kind of what it's going to be at Champs. So it's going to be a rematch, in my opinion. NYSL versus the Atlanta FaZe. Who is going to get a ring? And it is one best of 9 for the rings. I think this time, Atlanta FaZe is going to get their revenge. I think they are going to win this series 5-3. I think they should have won the Major 5 the same way. I think it should have been 5-3. But they obviously choked a little bit. NYSL also went big in that S&D on a CeeLo. I believe they were down, what, 2-5 or something crazy like that. Priest had a huge 1v1 round 10. The Force to around 11. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think Atlanta's going to be able to figure out what went wrong in that series, and they're going to come out. They're going to be COD champs. Simpin and BZ are instantly going to move up to top 5 all time, I would say. Slasher's going to get his second ring. Celium's going to get his second ring. And yeah, it's going to be a good one. I hope that it's going to be a blockbuster, but that is my bracket. It's perfect. Let me know in the comment section below how you guys think it's going to pan out. You know, do you have Atlanta FaZe winning? Do you have NYSL winning? Do you have LAT winning? Do you have Optic? Do you have Toronto? Do you maybe have a wild card team? Do you have Seattle Surge? Do you have Toronto? And like I said before we got into the bracket, if any of you guys out there are editors and you're interested in working together, let me know in the comment section. I'll reach out to you and we can link up and we can figure it out. But I know it's been a while, guys. I'm going to try my best to get back on a consistent schedule. I hope you guys all enjoyed. I truly appreciate all the love and support. Y'all are real. So thank you. Have a good one. I'm going to see y'all when I see y'all. Peace.